back! As promised, here we are again in San Nicolo. What you see behind me is its church. It is a church with a very long history, dating back to the 10th century, but the whole religious complex is a lot older. It's likely that at the time of Charlemagne, the Benedictine monastery already existed. Frankish sources mention it. This place, albeit not located on the main Venetian islands, has always played a major role in the life of the Republic, and right here, every year, was and still is celebrated the Senza festival, the most important Venetian festivity. In the church you see behind me, instead, since the Middle Ages, a very unique set of reliquaries are restored, parts of the very body of San Nicolo himself. Yeah, you heard me correctly, the saint whose body was recovered in Egypt by Venetian fishermen. Unfortunately, Bari had stolen a good part of it from them, but a good part of his body is still stored here. San Nicolo is famous for many things, but mostly for having been present in the first council of Nicaea to discuss about the Arian heresy. Arius was also present, and San Nicola was so pissed about what he kept saying that he punched him in the face. Among other things, you probably know him as Santa Claus. That's why you don't want to be a bad kid during Christmas, do you? Furthermore, in this very church were also stored all the treasures plundered in Constantinople by the Venetian Crusaders led by Enrico Dandolo. All those riches and unique objects were then scattered and distributed all over Venice, and the most famous example are the golden horses in St. Mark's Square. The original complex of the monastery was much bigger, and its outer walls were demolished in fairly recent times because only a few monks remained. But it remained active for many years until not long ago. These monks also played a central role for the foundation of the planetary of the Lido, but we'll be seeing that later. This whole place was behind a wall, but thanks to its absence, we now have an interesting memorial. It's a testimony of the last roar of the Lion of St. Mark, its very last fight, when Napoleon's ships forced the entrance of the port and entered in the lagoon to attack Venice. This memorial honors Domenico Pizzamano and Captain Alvise Viscovich, who on April 20, 1797 collaborated to destroy the French fleet. Pizzamano opened fire from the fearsome S.Andrea fort. Perhaps it not only looks beautiful and not that fearsome, but it was developed in a particularly smart way. These cannons were mostly positioned a little above sea level, meaning that getting hit by its artillery caused holes in the hull of the ship that doomed the entire vessel to immediately get flooded. Fort Sant'Andrea was powerful and solid, and Pizzamano unleashed all its might on the French frigates, proving the strength and the courage of a lion that was unwilling to die without a last stand. And this was the very last time that the Venetian lion showed its claws. At my right, in the distance, you can notice a particular fortification. We have mentioned it not long ago, and as I said, it's mostly linked to the last days of the Republic of Venice and its last defenders. They call it the last roar of the Lion of St. Mark. From those bastions were fired the cannons that sank the French ships. We can only imagine with fear what would have happened if Pizzamano, commander of Fort Sant'Andrea, wouldn't have given the order so promptly. And these ships can be found there, down there. Behind me you can see a depiction of the Lion of St. Mark. It makes sense, as this is Fortevecchio, older counterpart of the fort of Sant'Andrea, which we just seen from afar, and it's right in front of this one. This fortification was much older than the one of Sant'Andrea, so when the latter was built, this became Fortevecchio, or Old Fort, because the other one was then New Fort. Sharing the same fate of the fortress of San Nicolo, there isn't much left of it nowadays, but its importance was out of any doubt. From this place, Venice could lift one of three massive chains that prevented any ship from entering the port, just like Constantinople. And this was one of the ends of the chain. The other one was the fort of Sant'Andrea. But speaking of fortification, how about we go have a look at what's left of the Ridotto Austriaco? Unfortunately, it lies on a state of almost complete abandonment, and it's difficult to see anything, but it's there, lying in the vegetation. As far as it's always a pity to forsake anything of historical value, I have to admit that seeing all this vegetation enveloping entirely man-made structures has its own beauty. But let's go to the dam, shall we?